So new developments tonight in the case of Fusion GPS. This is the firm that was behind the now infamous Trump dossier. A source tells Fox News that the company is now fighting to block the release of their bank records amid questions of who may have paid for dirt on President Trump. Earlier this week, the firm's partners pled the Fifth. My next guest is urging Republicans to keep digging on this one, saying this could help unravel quite a lot. Kim Strassel is Wall Street Journal columnist. She wrote a great piece on this today, and she's member of the paper's editorial board. Kim, good evening. Good to see you tonight.
Hi, Martha. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. So, this is one that, you sort of keep pulling on this string. And as we always say, you want to follow the money. So why do you think Fusion GPS doesn't want to know who paid them for the Trump dossier?
Well, by the way, if I were a House investigator, I'd feel pretty good that I'm circling the right target here, given the ferocity with which Fusion is fighting this. And I think that ferocity suggests that this is a bombshell who did pay it. Perhaps it was a Democratic organization, in which case you have Democrats helping to gin up a phony dossier that has landed the president in a so-called scandal all year. Perhaps it was a foreign entity, maybe the Russians themselves, that were giving money. We might find out whether or not the FBI was involved in paying, for instance, this former British spy who was involved in creating the dossier. Whatever's in there, it's something that they clearly do not want people to see.
Well, there was reporting that the FBI was considering paying Fusion GPS for some research, but ultimately did not. And earlier this week, the president tweeted that he wanted to know who was behind this dossier and who said, see if you can dig up some dirt on candidate then Donald Trump. And the president suggested in a tweet that it could have been Democratic operatives, could have been the FBI, and he got excoriated for it, Kim.
Well, that's crazy. Look, because the reason he got excoriated is because it doesn't fit with the meme that's been going on for the past year. The entire media, everyone has been convinced that if there's a scandal here, it's that there was some sort of collusion between the Trump White House and Russians. We still have no evidence of that whatsoever. But what if the actual scandal is, again, that a left-leaning opposition research firm was working with Democrats, working with a foreign government, perhaps, to create a scandal around Donald Trump? And even bigger and more worrisome, what if our law enforcement agencies ultimately depended on that dossier or used it as a justification, for instance, to get a warrant to go and look into the Trump campaign? That really would be Russian meddling in our democracy and something concerning.
Yeah, that you just touched on something that is obviously very central to this and one of the biggest questions in terms of whether or not the DOJ, at the beginning of this investigation, used this dossier as the basis for their, any sort of investigative things that they did to do that, investigations, potential wiretaps, any of that, right?
Right. And by the way, I think we are going to get more to the bottom of this. What this firm is doing is they've taken the House basically to federal court and said, you can't have this. But they don't got much of a legal leg to stand on.
Kim, thank you. Out of time on the